All right, everyone. This is James Heyer with True Believers, and oh my gosh, Enrique Ramirez.
Hello.
He's back from his. What did you have again? Did you have your spleen removed?
It
or
was.
something?
It was technically a sabbatical. It was sabbatical. I needed to clear my mind. There was too much.
Too much in that mind. Too much porn in that mind, probably.
That might have something to do with it. I needed to clear all that out. Enema every day.
Oh, this show's off to a great start.
Yes, we already talked about enemas.
And no show should be complete without an enema.
That's right.
So basically, last time I did a show with Sean, we talked about Superman. Sean didn't bother to see it, but or he might see it later. But we were mostly talking about the character. But that was my first viewing, and I was a little down on it. You know, and since I've seen it a second time, and even during the show, I said, I definitely want to see it again. I want to give it another shot. You've also seen it, haven't you?
I did finally. I just saw it just a couple of days ago, and
well, this is going to be our sort of review show. So,
yeah.
Go for it. Tell me what you thought.
Well, I thought, first impressions were a lot darker, and a lot of people say that. And I think it's also the way the movie looked. It was a darker movie. Most people, if you go back to the Richard Donner films and even the Superman Returns film, it's bright colors. The suit is bright. It's bright day. This one's a lot like darker tones, not only with the theme, but with, the colors. I mean, gosh, most of the movie, I think, took place at night, it seemed like. But I liked it. There was a lot more action. I mean, if you go back to Superman Returns, I don't think he even threw a punch in that movie.
I don't know what that movie was. It's still not the worst Superman movie. Far from it.
In this one, there's so much action. And I think a lot of people complained that there was too much.
Yeah.
I liked it.
You did?
I like action in a superhero movie. There's got to be action in it. And just the way they did it, the thing that stands out most to me was when the last fight with Zod. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you still haven't seen the movie.
Sound card somewhere.
There's a scene in it where Zod, I think this is awesome, grabs him by his cape and swings him around and throws him into buildings. I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah. And also, a lot of people complained that he destroyed. They destroyed pretty much two cities.
I'm gonna that is my big problem with the movie.
And we'll talk about this, but I also, and I don't know who I was talking to, but I said, what do you expect when two guys with powers like that, when they fight, what do you expect is gonna happen?
I'll tell you, if Superman was fighting, he would, and he does it for a few seconds, take Zod to outer space or something, get him out of harm's way from all these people. He does that in Superman 2. He's like, get away from the people. And remember in Superman 2, and I'm not saying they should follow this screen by screen, but he leads them off to the Fortress of Solitude up in the North Pole. But he gets them away from the people. And on this movie, he does take Zod up into space, and they fight up there for exactly 5 seconds, and then they come back down and destroy more buildings.
Right.
And I got to say, when it comes to Smallville, that town is gone. And not only that, there is one thing, and I think I might be mistaken, but it seems like Superman got mad and punches Zod, and Zod goes flying through a grain elevator. It's like, well, 20 grain elevator workers are now dead. Thanks, Superman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought the destruction was a little much.
It was, but when you think about it, he's blinded by rage because Zod, touched his mom in, you know what I mean. He basically picked up his mom and threw her down. He's blinded by rage.
Yeah,
you can't
sad.
Control that. And also, you have to remember, this is his first time being Superman.
I hope those guys were not working that day. I hope it was like the 4th of July.
Well, didn't you hear the tornado sirens? No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe no one died in the elevator. I don't know. But, I mean, they pretty much destroy Smallville. And it's like, Smallville's not very big. Superman could have easily just been like, follow me into this wheat field.
I would also have to remember, Zod's there to look for something. To make him follow Superman, I think would be very difficult.
He was looking for Superman.
Okay. Never mind. I know. Well, no. At this point, he was still looking for the. Oh, what the hell was that stupid thing called that they were? The skull of the.
The crystal of the kingdom.
No, the thing that he was looking for. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah, the codex.
The codex.
Yeah,
he didn't know it was Superman
that?
yet. He hadn't found that out yet. Until the second battle in Metropolis.
All right, fine, but still, like he's still after Superman.
Oh,
Superman
yeah.
could have led them out there. I will say this though, like,
But when you think about it, Zod could have had his minions follow Superman, and Zod could have been there, killing his mom, or something, or torturing his mom to get information, because he didn't know that she didn't know where the codex was.
Superman could have done his laser eyes, looked straight at Zod's ship, and blew it up right then and there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Well, it's difficult because it's also his first time actually being Superman. So
I will say this though, before I get too into it. Second viewing, I liked it a lot better. I think part of the problem with the first viewing was I fell asleep through most of it.
Nice, James.
And every time I woke up, and this is kind of a problem with the movie, and I was also probably drunk or something. Who knows? But
You were at the movies, of course you were.
Of course I was. But like there is also, like, to be quite honest, like the dialogue is a little wonky, and even if you go back,
Yes.
and that is a David S. Goyer thing. I know we all love Batman Begins, but if you go back and pay attention to that movie, every line the character says is to move the plot along. Every line is to either complain to Bruce about how he's not doing a good job of being a rich guy, or to complain about how bad things are in Gotham. That is just kind of his writing style. He's a good writer, but he does have, I don't think, his dialogue kind of gets a little much after a while. Mm-hmm. So, like, every time I was waking up, it was just, like, bad dialogue, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Went back to sleep.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. It could have been...
There was one line in particular in that movie that, like, it was Fiora, the bad chick, and she was bad.
Oh, yeah.
She says just the craziest line. She says, evolution is what is it? It's like we are more evolved, and evolution.
Was she Asian?
It has nothing to. Shut up. It has nothing to. Evolution and morality don't mix, and the thing about evolution is it always wins. And it's like, what does that mean? I mean,
my favorite was
like, I'm sorry, but like, that's not exactly how evolution works. I mean, birds aren't velociraptors anymore.
Exactly.
Sometimes evolution kind of loses.
Yeah, stupid. This is Earth. Well, there's that line, and then when Zod looks up at Superman and says, "This is going to end two ways: you dying or me dying, or one of two ways." Or what? It says it's going to only end one way, and he's like, "Either you're going to die or I'm going to die." Like, wait, isn't that two ways?
I guess it's one way, but it's like there's a choice.
What if you both die?
Yeah.
Stupid.
What if neither of you die? No, and then there's a line similar to that towards the end when he's like, I'll kill all of them, blah, blah. And then Superman goes, "You're a monster." Good one, Superman.
Hey, you,
You
get your
dork.
damn hands off of the planet Earth.
But I thought the science fiction stuff went really well.
Yeah.
I thought that stuff was really cool. And I know, actually, a friend of mine didn't like a lot of that stuff, but I don't know. I mean, really, when it comes to science fiction, like, I mean, when it comes to aliens especially, it's like, who knows, like, what they've got? I mean, whatever.
Well, I feel like with this movie, you see a lot more. You see a lot more Krypton. They did a lot more there, and then, they even kind of go into their technology and a little. You get a little bit more backstory.
Well, that's something that you can forgive with the first two, and you see plenty. You see a little bit of it in the old ones, but with the third one, which is kind of the third one, but not the Superman Returns. There was no excuse for that at that point. I mean, technology was good enough. I mean, and that. Do you remember Superman Returns? What the story was? How he went to outer space for 5 years, even though in real life it's been like 20. Mm-hmm. And then
He looked for. He saw. Someone said there were
searching
remnants
for
of his dead planet.
And then but then the movie is just him coming back and Lois Lane not wanting to have anything to do with him, and it's like, that's boring. The stuff about him going into space and looking for his family, that would have been a really good movie.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
They weren't.
No.
So, they gave him his son.
Well, they were thinking what it was
the
whole thing was just Bryan Singer's like love letter to the old ones.
God, done with that. Hopefully, this movie will just like kind of erase all that crap. And
did you like the old ones?
When I was a kid, yes, but when you go back and watch them, they're corny as hell.
You know, and that's the thing. I still love the first two, not the sequels, but the first two. And I think this is kind of reminding me, and not so much with you, because I know you're more of a Superman fan than like some of my friends, but like one of my friends loved this movie, and this kind of reminds me of like was Star Trek when that came out in '09, and I was not a Star Trek fan at that time.
Right.
And I thought it was awesome. And all the Trekkies, all my friends who were Trekkies were like, this kind of sucks. This is too fun. And too exciting. And
there's no one talking like a fucking nerd. Swear word.
And now like, and of course, like I went back and watched the old ones, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. It's all about boring philosophy. Like, but like, and now seeing Man of Steel, it's like, and this isn't quite all the way over there, but it's like I get it now with that. I mean, like it's different enough from tonally.
Right.
The only thing is, at least they still keep kind of.
He was still a
Superman,
right? Yeah. He was still a dorky,
which
do right by everyone.
The new Star Trek really doesn't keep the tone of the old ones.
Oh no. Well, it's like it's on steroids, and it's meant to, I think, hit a wider audience and a younger audience to keep their attention. Because I would fall asleep through most of the Star Trek movies, old and new. And the Star Trek TV series, I was never into that because to me that was boring.
Yeah.
And like with the Superman movie
it now, it's actually a pretty good show. I could not.
I'm not gonna go back and watch Star Trek.
I could not. I could not.
It's hard for me to watch the old Batman show.
Oh, that's
shows.
hard for me to watch.
Yeah, I can't.
No, when I was a kid, I thought everything Star Trek was terrible, and now that I'm a boring adult, it's like, oh wow.
Oh, I can relax.
Yeah, it's all an analogy for racism.
It.
Yeah, every episode is an analogy for racism.
The thing I think the biggest difference between the old Supermans and this one is the fighting. There's so much more fighting. There's so much more punching. And if you look at Superman, when he fights, he's very like stature, like a mannequin. And then he doesn't throw a lot of punches. And when he does, he's like got perfect posture. And he just there's not a lot of movement to his fighting. This one, he's like all over the freaking place.
Do you need a cold towel or something?
I do. I am wet. Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
There was one of those moments.
Scene, the scene where he's like lifting the oil tank.
Oh, I was like, come on.
I was kind of thinking, Jesus. Sorry, Schaefer.
And that's an inside joke to Schaefer, who hopefully is listening.
Oh, we've brought it out on the show. It's not
okay, good.
Inside. We've humiliated him in front of dozens of people.
Jesus. Well, there was that scene where he opens the door and he's on fire and he's got his shirt off. Oh,
and then there's after that when he's like,
Jesus, it's hot in here.
And then he's like, and then immediately after that he's running he's running into someone's backyard.
Yeah,
and takes their clothes. And it's like, my God.
Oh my God. Oh, now he's wet.
What'd you think of all the Jesus imagery? Speaking of Jesus,
that was a little weird, and I don't know how to explain it. On my end, I'm a religious person. I think it's nice, but I don't think you can compare. I think it's kind of weird to throw that up there.
Superman to Jesus.
You can what they're trying to do, but I think I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think it needed to be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, but it also. It looks like he has morals. But I looked at it like, the Superman has morals.
Yeah.
And he seeks guidance to, our God, whatever.
Our God.
I don't know. My God.
I thought it was okay. I didn't mind it. A lot of people were off put by it. I didn't. I thought it got a little bit much by the end. Like at the end when Lois Lane is holding him and it's like La Pieta. It's like okay, that's enough. But
and then when they crucified him at the end and he came. That didn't happen. That spoilers. That didn't happen.
That I think is interesting though, and I talked about a little bit about this on the show, is that Superman. With all this Jesus imagery, I mean, I guess it just kind of evolved to that. But, I mean, first off, Superman was created by two Jewish guys.
Yeah.
And secondly, if anything, there's always been kind of a theory. I don't know if they ever came out and said this was true. If they did, I'm sure they were lying because, you're just rushing this crap out.
Yeah.
But there's always been a theory that the idea of two dying parents send their baby from Krypton to Earth was supposed to be an analogy of Moses' parents sending him down the river to Egypt.
Right.
And, and then, of course, he becomes a king of men and blah, blah. So I think it's interesting how, I think that was more the original point, at least to some degree. And now he's, evolved into being Jesus. And
which I don't think they need, but... If you look at some of the DC stuff, there's a new video game out and comic book called Injustice: Gods Among Us. So I don't know if they're really they're pushing that or
they're pushing religion.
They're pushing religion on people.
We've talked about this before though. Like the superheroes have always been just kind of a ripoff of old mythological gods and stuff. I mean,
Batman's like Moses and
Thor is like Zeus.
But I think overall, the Man of Steel movie was good, and hopefully it's a good. It's another step towards the direction of getting a Justice League movie.
I gotta be honest with you. I could care less about a Justice League movie.
Right.
I'd hate to sound cynical, but
you sound cynical.
I mean, we've done really well with the Batman movies. This new Superman movie seems to be on the right track, but let's not forget there was a Green Lantern movie that was terrible. We still need a Flash and a Wonder Woman, and I'm just I don't know. I think Marvel's already done it.
Right. But everyone wants to see a Justice League. I would like to see it.
I would see it too. I'm just saying, I don't care as much as other people.
But it's something I don't see happening for a long time.
Yeah, they're going to keep pushing it. They say it's supposed to come out in 2015, and
that's not
very much doubt it.
No.
Did you notice, by the way, there were a couple of Easter eggs in the movie?
Oh,
First,
yeah.
There was the LexCorp tankers. And then, that 5 seconds when they were fighting in space, there was the
Wayne Enterprises
satellite. That one I didn't notice the first time I saw it. Actually, my friend pointed it out, and I had to. The second time I saw it, you can barely see it.
Oh yeah, it pops up. I just happened to be looking at the right spot.
Yeah,
I think when it happened. So
it was the sign next to Superman's butt or something,
next to his ass, and he flips it off. Fuck you.
So, everyone thinks Batman is dead in this Superman world now, so they need a new hero.
Well, I've heard that, and then I think also I've heard talk of, Superman's supposedly the first superhero that inspires people to, fight, or to become superheroes. But, the Batman Begins, that's not even touched upon. It's his own thing. So I don't know.
But by the third movie, he saves an entire city.
Yeah.
By the way, we need to bring this up. We were kind of talking about this before with all the chaos at the end of Man of Steel, which I still think the fighting was cool, but I still think the whole city. Can you imagine how many people died that day? Probably 100,000 people.
A lot.
9/11 to the extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end, he just goes back to the Daily Planet. I mean, did they rebuild it?
Hi, Mom. Well, I imagine he built his mom's house first, and then he went. The Metropolis.
They gotta have the whole second movie should just be Superman rebuilding. No, but
he's got his shirt off. And
here's the deal: let's look at a lot of these superhero movies now. You have Avengers. Let's not talk about it. We'll save that for last.
Okay.
But let's look at as far as chaos and destruction. Batman Begins. Pretty much that whole city is
that section of the city,
up.
yeah.
Well, it's under siege for 3 months, remember?
You mean The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah. What did I say?
Batman Begins.
Whatever.
You're drunk. What would we say, James? What we? No, I'm just kidding.
I promised I wouldn't drink. No, Dark Knight Rises. That whole city is under siege.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of people getting blown up. The mayor, who was like saving the mayor, was such a big plot point on the second one.
Yeah.
And then on the third one, they're like, hey, it's the mayor. Oh, now he's dead. You know.
Yeah.
But excuse me. But so you've got that. You know, a lot of like violence in that one.
Mm-hmm.
James Bond, that was about on par. Like James Bond was a great movie. Skyfall was great.
Right,
Have
right.
you watched that yet?
Oh yeah, good movie.
Better watch it.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
It was good.
No, but then you've got Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
Not really destruction on a large scale, but that movie, like as far as just gratuitous violence, really should not have been PG-13.
Right.
Like what is it? What are they? The MPAA.
Yeah.
They like if there's any evidence that they are just money grubbing and corrupt, and we'll give an NC-17 to a movie that won't make money and a PG-13 to a movie that will.
And now there's
that
podcasts.
as evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, because that movie is like for a kids is like that's probably the most violent kids movie I've ever seen.
When you think about it, though, they got around that rating probably because there was no blood, and most of the destruction and killing you see are of his suits.
Well,
it's like they're ripping heads
you've
off.
You've got those. You know,
Oh,
you've got the people in the bombs, and their shadows get burned on the walls.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then you've got that lady who's dangling from a power wire.
Yeah. Oops. Ow.
But also with that movie, here's another strange thing about it that I've read is that they could not. Part of how they got away with the violence was they could not, and this shows how messed up we are as a society. They could not show Tony Stark drinking. Now, there are plenty of scenes where he's holding a drink or he picks up a bottle, but you never in that movie once do you see him actually drinking.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
And then you've got
Spooky.
Star Trek. Did you see that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it.
Okay,
you
spoil
haven't
it.
Seen it by this point.
Do it.
There's a ship that looks just like the Enterprise that crashes into London. And it's like, wow. That's
So right there, who
messed
cares?
up. Yeah.
No.
And then now you've got Superman, and it's like, man, how if it's not the violence like Iron Man, the other movies have been extreme, just calamity, catastrophes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, what is the deal with that? Is this going to keep going?
It's going to escalate too. Yeah.
Thor 2 looks like it's going to be like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
The one movie that I will give them a free ride on is Avengers. Mm-hmm. There are two reasons for that. One reason is because after 5 movies, we were expecting New York to blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, we were itching for that. Mm-hmm. And
we wanted that to happen.
And the other reason is there's a line when I think Captain America, maybe it was Iron Man, I don't remember, says to Thor, shoot your lightning into that portal and keep the rest of those aliens from coming in. And he does it, and you see it. And with the power, and this is what these writers need to understand is with the power of one line, you are able to suspend my disbelief just a little bit more and go along with it.
Yeah.
The third thing about that movie is you see, and this is something you don't see in Man of Steel, or at the end you do, but not a whole lot of. You see Captain America and Hulk and Iron Man out there on the ground saving people from the aliens. So you're seeing people get saved. And you don't actually see a whole lot of that in Superman.
Right. And I think that's difficult because I would think in a Justice League movie when there's more than one character, I would imagine that would happen.
The old Superman movies always showed him saving people.
Yeah.
The old Superman movies.
Yeah.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, my day, Superman saved people.
It does sound like I am being a little hard on it. The fact is, this movie was definitely a space opera, which was something I really liked about it. It was a very good science fiction movie.
With a lot of death that we didn't see.
It has some things that I really don't like about it, though. Someone brought up, actually, that weird ship that I guess was like the Fortress of Solitude or something that was buried under the ice for 100,000 years.
Yeah.
Someone was like, well, how did he get a suit out of there?
Oh, yeah.
With his family crest? And I was thinking about it, and like it is funny, but it's like whatever. It's just an alien.
You're overthinking it.
He probably there might be a sewing machine or a tailoring machine.
Right.
And remember when he plugs in his Superman flash drive into the ship?
Exactly.
I thought about this after my friend mentioned that, but he plugs it into the ship, and there's probably some little blueprint to turn the sewing machine on. And
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
The other thing,
the movie's about a guy that flies.
Yeah. The one thing I did like in the old movie was that his father was just a playback. And this one he interacts with him with. I think that's too much technology. That's too much good technology. Yeah. So I imagine, I mean, I can understand.
What do you think of Russell Crowe?
I liked him.
I liked it. I was okay with him the second time. The first time, and again, maybe it's because I was tired and drunk, but I was like, man, Russell Crowe, you're not doing it for me right now.
He was a badass. He fought his way, yeah. And the other thing is he didn't blink when he was the playback father. It was very Charles Manson-like. If you notice, his eyes were like, his eyes were just like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Zod, don't stop. And
here's another thing that people have a problem with, and I think these people are wrong. They're like, Superman killed Zod at the end.
Fuck yeah, he did.
Yeah, fucking sorry, but Zod just killed all of
that's what
all of Metropolis and Smallville. It's like he's unstoppable. Kill him, okay? Yeah. It would be one thing if he killed a human, like that would be kind of messed up, which he kind of possibly did. But no, he's killing another Kryptonian, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay? And it adds depth to the character. He didn't like doing it.
Yeah.
The whole reason why we live by these rules where these characters can never kill, which thank God with Iron Man and Captain America they broke those rules.
Yeah.
But the whole reason why we live by these rules where these characters can't kill anyone is just because there was a comic book code back in the day.
Yeah.
So, and to be fair, like that's allowed them, well, that and also you want to keep good villains around.
Exactly.
So, I mean, so they've kept it, that is one good way of like having a rule to write by. But on the other hand, it's like these are movies. Let them do it.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and then people complain about that. But then did they not realize that Zod was going to kill a whole family?
Yeah.
Like he had to stop him.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, but that's of course kill him. And then
well, and here's the worst part about it. These same people who are complaining are probably fans of the Donner movies and are completely neglecting the fact that on the second movie, Superman tricks Zod and his companions into using the red kryptonite or something, the kryptonite machine, which gets rid of their powers. Okay, put him to jail. No, he throws them all into the ice.
And he's laughing.
It's like, that's way worse. How come no one's even bothered to think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, at that point, they're no longer a threat. But it's like, nope, see you later.
Boom.
No one has brought that up.
Yeah.
I have not read anyone bring that up. Or no one's talked to me about it.
And the way he did it was stupid, too, because he doesn't just like, forget you guys, and picks them up and slams them into the hole or punches their face, and he just kind of just stands there, and then he moves.
Yeah.
And they try to fly. It's like, it's
those movies are corny.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, but they are pretty corny.
And then the other thing is the people that were in charge of this, they're all new guys trying to like update it and make it more. This sounds really lame of me to say more hip, but more with the times.
Wow, okay, Grandpa.
Taking Superman out of the 50s and at least putting him in the 90s.
Yeah. Don't put him in the 90s. You can put him in the 80s, but not the 90s. Holy crap.
But I think shoot, and I like Zod. I like Michael Shannon.
I did too.
He was pretty good.
Too. I didn't like him as much as that one guy whose name I can't remember all of a sudden. But whatever. Like Michael Shannon was really good.
Yeah, he was creepy. I think his dialogue could have been better. Whatever, because there were some kind of like that line we brought up. This is going to end.
What did you think of Amy Adams? And I like her.
I do.
I think she was kind of miscast.
Yeah.
And I like her. I think she's a good actress. And she pulled off a lot of that movie well, but then there were parts like, and this part still sticks in my mind when she's at the bar. And the bartender's like, "What are you having?" "Just give me a whiskey." And it's like, "Oh, come on, you ain't a tough broad. Like, give me a break."
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. This sounds real sexist of me, but I could do without women in the superhero. I don't know.
No, you're right.
It gives depth to the characters, like, they have a love interest and stuff. But I think it's overdone. It's overplayed. If I were to write a movie, I'd write them out.
I think to this point, I still think Pepper Potts is the only girlfriend that has been. I don't want to say done right because they weren't done well in the comics.
Used correctly.
This is the only one that has actually been a character unto herself. The rest of them are just there to develop
supporting
the dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, what did you think about? Because I knew other people were upset about her knowing that Superman was Clark Kent, and it was
fine with
easy.
it. What-
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Who cares?
She's
Like, that is the thing, and I'm not gonna cry about the Donner movies forever. I can watch them whenever I want. But,
Right.
that's the thing. It's like we've seen the whole. Oh, she's really smart, but I guess she's kind of stupid because she can't figure
Exactly.
this out. I mean, ha ha.
And she's supposed to be some badass reporter that, stupid. And then we talked about Jimmy Olsen not being in it.
Oh yes, Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
He was not in this movie.
Yeah.
He was missing.
Even though he's a complete boner, it was still kind of like
He was a
to
boner,
see him.
and he always pulled a lot of boners too. No, here's something interesting though. There was a character that was in there named Ginny. And originally, she was supposed to be, at least according to IMDb, she was supposed to be Jenny Olsen.
Oh, gross. That's not an Indian name.
I'm kidding. I mean, there does come a point when you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there comes a point. It's one thing, like, changing a character's race is fine.
Yeah.
Like, because, you've got to update that. Changing their gender is weird because
That's
at that
difficult.
point,
Yeah.
at that point, they're a different character.
Oh, yeah.
Like, totally.
Yeah.
They're, and also it's like, come on, like the whole point of Jimmy Olsen was that he was some dorky kid who liked Clark.
Yeah.
And I can't see this out of this Ginny character, who, by the way, was a terrible actress. She was the one actor in this, and probably that I just thought was awful. And what's funny is she was only in for like 3 scenes. The whole, like, Perry White and that creepy guy that looked like somebody that we know.
Yes.
We'll keep it anonymous, but that whole thing. It's like all the Daily Planet people. Like, you barely see any of them.
Yeah.
And then, and again, this goes back to kind of like Batman Begins and stuff. This, I think, is actually a Goyer thing, but you don't know who these characters are. You haven't had enough time to, like, become emotionally attached to them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, at the end, we keep cutting from Superman fighting to them, like, struggling in Metropolis, and it's like, I don't care.
Killer. I
don't care.
bet there's hundreds of people dying right now.
There are thousands of other people dying. I don't know them any more than these people.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ginny Olsen, that was weird. Speaking
Spooky.
of Jimmy Olsen,
Spooky.
that leads us to our mail for today.
All right.
Today we are reading Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 115. Holy cow!
There's 115 of those?
At least.
Oh, gross.
And this one is hilarious. It's got a picture of Jimmy Olsen and Aquaman, like, in the desert. Like,
No.
dying of thirst, and Superman holding a pitcher of water, laughing and taunting them.
I knew he was a jerk.
He is a jerk. Jimmy says, "Superman, stop this crazy test. Let us share that water or we die." And then Superman replies, "Sorry, Jimmy. The ground rules allows only one survivor. You are Aquaman."
Why would he test him up against Aquaman?
Well, I was wondering the same thing until I read page 1, and things get pretty weird. There's a
Oh,
picture of
boy.
it. Right now, we've got Aquaman is dead, and the seals and dolphins are carrying his dead body away. This is pretty weird. And then Superman is standing next to Jimmy Olsen, who is sitting on the Aquaman clam throne, whatever you call that
What
thing.
is this?
And yeah, this is weird. And Superman says to shirtless, superpowered Jimmy Olsen, "The king is dead. Long live the king. They're burying Aquaman. Jimmy, you'll have to take over his job of ruler of the sea." And then Jimmy says, "Sure, I have aqua powers, Superman, but can I fill Aquaman's shoes as king of Atlantis?"
I don't care, Jimmy.
I have a feeling we missed something really big in issue 114. So, like, yeah, I haven't actually read this one either.
Well, if you see it,
I just
download
bought
it, folks.
I saw it over at Prairie Dog, and I saw it yesterday, and I was just like, I have to have this. And here's the best part: it has mail.
Jimmy Olsen fan mail.
Close.
Oh,
Close.
no.
It's slightly more clever, but not much. It's Jimmy Olsen's pen pals.
Let's make it for a 12-year-old boy.
Or a 30-year-old man.
30-year-old man. Hey, pen pals. Jimmy Olsen here.
Hey, Jimmy. How's it going? Well, here we go. Dear editor, I think I have found a possible reason why Superman picked Jimmy as his best pal. James Olsen is a reporter, and he is also Elastic Lad. What? Really?
What did we miss?
So he has elastic powers and aqua powers?
Really, does elastic
there's
powers, does that do anything?
There's a lot of weird... It's like Mr. Fantastic.
Well, I'm just saying,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of stupid.
I don't know.
At least Mr. Fantastic was
I could
smart.
use elastic powers.
I bet you could.
Speaking of pulling boners. Let's see. Now, if you take the first letter from each of these words, James Olsen, reporter, James Olsen, reporter, and Elastic Lad, they spell Jor-El.
Oh my God.
This must be a young Glenn Beck. He's finding signs everywhere. The name of Superman's father. Was this a coincidence, or did you plan it that way? Plan what? You put those words together yourself, you idiot. Gary Roberts from Terre Haute, Indiana. It all happened by sheer chance, Gary. And this is...
You psycho.
Yeah, you crazy, crazy kid. And it is unlikely to have influenced Superman, since Jimmy didn't become Elastic Lad until after they met, and he became the Man of Might's buddy. But it is a wild coincidence, and you're the first to notice. From the editor.
If you add J, the number in the alphabet,
You get Obama.
Obama.
You get Facebook. God.
You get Man of Steel, which is the movie that comes out 20... Oh, my God. All right, here we go. Dear editor,
Ooh.
I enjoyed reading Jimmy Olsen number 111. It was a very good idea to have Jimmy pose as Robin, the boy wonder. My goodness, what are we not reading?
Man, this is like the best book ever.
Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen is a badass.
Why did they pick Jimmy Olsen to make a badass? And then,
I don't know.
Like, this is the first we're hearing of it.
You know what he reminds me of? Rick Jones.
Don't say Rick Jones.
Rick Jones.
Oh my gosh.
Rick Jones is somebody's ripping off somebody. I don't know
Yeah.
who. But Rick Jones was the sidekick, was everyone's sidekick.
Yeah.
It looks like Jimmy Olsen kind of was.
When did
too.
Jimmy Olsen become a badass?
I don't know. I mean, this is 1968, so
Wow.
this is technically after, but who knows when it started.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
interesting.
Continuing, but when he took off his mask, didn't the mystery analyst see that he was made up with Dick Grayson's face? What? Daniel Boudreau, St. John Baptiste, Manitoba, Canada. Oh, Canada. In response, no, because Jim took off the mask and the makeup all at once. Ed.
I think Ed is actually editor.
Editor. Well, it says Ed. In your face.
Ouch.
What if it's Ed the editor?
You got me
Coincidence?
I think not. It was planned this way. Dear editor, an Elastic Lads wrestling match. My God. This really sounds like the greatest comic ever.
When he was fighting...
I'm actually going to read this later.
When he was fighting Kane... Or no, that's not... When Elastic Lad was fighting the Joker or something... I don't know.
It shows Blubber Ben, I don't know, trying Totem Tom in the ropes. I don't know. In the rule book of American wrestling, it says that if the wrestlers are outside or on the ropes,
God.
the referee has to break them up. Where was the referee this time? Man, someone needs a metal chair to their head. Jay Lefton from, oh God, Ontario, Canada.
Canucks are checking in.
Looking the other way, of course. Don't you remember? Oh, sorry. Looking the other way, of course. Don't you remember the matches in this story were crooked? That's from the editor.
Stupid.
You dork.
Okay. Dear editor, I have it solved. After a long period of research, I have come to the conclusion that Jimmy Olsen's missing father is... You ready for this? Alfred. No. That's right, Batman's butler. Nobody knows his last name, and he has a mysterious background. A revelation like this would hit the stands like a bombshell.
I'm pretty sure it was always Pennyworth, but...
Yeah. Brick, Arndt, Belleville, Illinois. Here's the response. But it won't. What's so mysterious about Alfred's background? His father, Jarvis, was Thomas Wayne's butler. After Thomas, Bruce Wayne's father, was killed, Jarvis returned to his native England, where his son grew up. Alfred became a music hall entertainer until the old man on his deathbed made him promise to go to America to be Bruce's butler. Jarvis's body was even shipped to Gotham City for burial. By the time Alfred arrived, Jimmy was already working at the Daily Planet, so we can scratch Alfred as a suspect in the Great Father Hunt.
Wow, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Boy, I bet Brick feels stupid.
Yeah, Brick, you ass.
Do your research, idiot.
Idiot.
I hope he's listening. He's probably dead.
I hope he's dead. Yeah, we've talked about it before. Like, this is 1968. If these guys were 15, they'd be really old.
Yeah. Take that, listeners.
We've just alienated at least
one guy. You know who you are. Sorry. I hope you come back on the show.
I do too. That was the best show we ever had.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dear editor, issue 110 was fine except for a couple of goofs. There was only one guard at President Lincoln's box at the Ford Theater the night he was assassinated, not two, as you showed.
I think he's writing into the wrong comic book.
Yeah, this was actually to American history.
Dear history.
Dear Gettysburg, issue 110.
Yeah, we should start writing letters to random things.
And that guy went out for a drink instead of falling asleep. Also, in the second story, the letters did not have 6-cent stamp on them. David Wallinger from Bronx, New York.
David Buzzkill Wallinger.
I'm pushing the glasses up on my nose right now. You can't see
I do believe the stamps were... Was that the response?
Yeah. No, it was, looks like we need an expert to guard against those historical boo-boos. But the stamps are a different case. Our story was edited and had been sent to the printer before the postal rate hike was passed.
Oh, God.
The editor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone, again...
Superman fans
stupid.
Are weird.
Yeah. Well, this is a Jimmy Olsen thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get this. This is...
Dude, it sounds like a great book.
I'm surprised the New 52 doesn't have their own Jimmy Olsen Pen Pals comic book.
Are you really surprised?
No. Dear editor, I really enjoyed Elastic Lad, Russell's the ugly Superman, but Jimmy was nearly out of elastic serum. What the hell? I'd like to know if he can get a refill. Charles Coney, Beach Haven, New York. All right, the response is good. Sure, if he hadn't thrown the bottle away, but there was no use keeping it. Professor Potter wouldn't give him 2 cents back on it anyway.
You know what? I think I would keep the elastic.
It was empty.
Oh, was it empty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't worth it then.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know.
No, I'm not.
Pretty weird.
I guess I need to read up on my Jimmy Olsen.
I guess so. Let's see. Okay. Dear editor, in Jimmy Olsen number 110, Superman stated that he had discovered the man who sent him the poisoned letters was English because they were dated using the day before the month. This really sounds like a good book. Yeah. Like there's mystery involved.
I'm missing out.
Espionage and poison.
Only on the True Believers
wrestling.
podcast will you get this, folks.
And Aquaman and
Aquaman's dead.
And yeah, this is a really good book.
Superman's butthole.
This proves nothing. The same method of dating is used by all Europeans and by the American military. Pamela Fisher, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Oh. As Sherlock Holmes put it, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be true. Since he could find no trace of a continental crook or a military villain in Metropolis, yeah, there are no members of the military or from another country in Metropolis.
None, not one.
That left one possibility. An Englishman.
Boom! Stupid.
You're full of shit, editor.
My goodness. Dear editor, how many times has Superman and Jimmy... Okay, I'm sorry, let me restart. Dear editor, how many times has Superman saved Jimmy's life? And how many times has Jimmy saved Superman from kryptonite? John Blackhall, North Highlands, California.
That's a good question.
Response. Man, do you have any idea how many thousands of comic mags, newspaper strips, radio scripts, and TV shows we've had to go through to get those answers? Maybe we could do it, but we'd have to devote a year or so to counting. So, wow, what a lazy editor.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, jerk.
God.
Get up off your butt and find it out. Maybe James could do that this week.
Yeah. Let's see. Dear editor, number 111 was a fab-ish. But on page 7 of Boy Wonder Story, when Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson were at the breakfast table, they were all mixed up. Either Bruce was wearing Dick's...
Wow, you stopped at a weird...
Okay, either Bruce was wearing Dick's brown suit and Dick wore Bruce's blue one.
Oh, boy.
Or Bruce was drinking Dick's milk and thinking his thoughts while Dick... while Dick had Bruce's coffee. How do you feel about that? I'll tell you how I feel. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good
I don't feel about it at all.
That's from Robin Lurch from Decatur, Georgia.
Oh, Lurch.
Like the sky was gray, son, and we were having a Wayne storm. That's from the editor. I think he was as creeped out as we were. Come up with something funny.
Like a Wayne storm.
What about that issue where Batman and Robin were at the breakfast table together and they were wearing each other's clothes and drinking each other's milk?
Spooky.
Something wrong with it.
Spooky.
Spooky. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
What a... I'm going to have to start boning up on my Jimmy Olsen, I guess.
I guess so. This is probably the greatest literature of all
Whoa.
time.
I don't know about that.
What's also interesting, I've been looking, and maybe I just can't find it, but I still have just been looking through this, and I cannot find any credits. And that,
Oh, really?
I know that was a DC thing, but I'm surprised they were still doing it this late.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be in here somewhere, but I have not found, for instance, we don't know the editor's name. He's just editor.
Right.
I don't know.
Or it could be Ed.
It could be Ed, I guess. Yeah, and I don't know who wrote or drew this either, or inked it.
Interesting.
So, yeah. I think that was something, as much grief as people give Stan Lee, that was something he did, was he started crediting.
I would think that'd be huge, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. In 1968, I'm surprised they weren't jumping on the bandwagon yet.
Yeah.
On that. But, well.
That's Jimmy Olsen,
Now
folks.
we know a lot more about Jimmy Olsen than
Elastic
we ever
Man.
wanted to.
James Olsen, Elastic Man, Queen. Queen. We'll just go with Queen. Aqua King.
Man.
So Jimmy Olsen killed Aquaman.
I guess I didn't bother reading it anymore, but I'm going to.
Yeah, read it.
Like, this really is. I think what it is this is actually an anthology book because it's very long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first we have the story of, I'm just going to skip to the end of this. Like, he's fighting a sperm whale.
Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, look at that. He's
Take that,
badass.
sperm whale. He's all ripped up and stuff. Wow.
See, I bet this is probably something stupid where it's just Jimmy Olsen's bright imagination. Like,
Yeah.
I have a fear that that's what this is.
He's like in his office
I don't know,
writing
this
these
is really
stories.
cool. Look, it's old man. Like, is that Jarrell?
Oh, don't say that.
I don't know what it is.
Don't say that.
Well, maybe it's just.
Maybe it's
Zeus.
Titan. I don't know.
Or, yeah, Poseidon.
Poseidon or whatever.
What was that? Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Maybe we should do some research and talk about it next time.
We will.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to do, we do want to pull up a Star Trek, Marvel's Star Trek. We're going to get that. The only problem is they don't have mail. And I think that's...
That's sad.
Well, I think that was something, because Godzilla had mail, but Star Wars doesn't. My James Bond from Marvel doesn't.
That's weird.
Well, I think... And actually, even some of the Claremont X-Men, the ones that I really like Days of Future Past and all them, they don't have mail either. So I think in the in like the early 80s or late 70s, like 78 or 9, and then the 80s, I think they quit doing mail for a while. Yeah, even that Batman we did
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have mail.
Yeah.
So I think in the 80s they just quit doing it. Like both
I wonder if it just
companies.
took up space, like for
I'm sure
advertising.
they,
or
yeah,
something.
I'm sure they were like, well, we could just use this page for advertising.
Yeah.
No one reads this crap anyway.
We're getting 2 letters a day. I'm not printing this crap.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but well, Enrique, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I do. I guess. Yeah.
It's great to be back.
It is good to be back. I missed this. It's just I'm glad.
It's only been a month. Dude.
It feels like 3 months.
It does.
So, and I missed out. I want to do one. I want to do one with Scott. We'll hopefully have our website up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Which will be awesome. Scott's doing our website. We want to get George back on,
Yes, we
which
do.
is a plan. I want to do one with Sean where we
I'm
worlds.
starting to think you don't.
I wanted Worlds Collide. Where what is it? What is his? I'm sorry, Sean.
Free lunch.
Free Lunch
Yeah.
meets True Believers, and we, he does a comic book with us, and we do a Free Lunch with him.
Yeah.
I want to do that real bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
We could play. One thing I thought about doing, but then I realized I'd have to spend money on it. I thought about buying Superman 64 and playing around with
yeah.
him, and then I was like, I don't want to spend $6 on this. Have you ever heard of that game?
Yes.
It's like one of the worst pieces of
yeah.
crap ever. I mean, it's like totally coded wrong, and it's unplayable.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'd like to play like either like some 64, like GoldenEye or something like that with him because we played that.
oh yeah.
So we'll get something going with him, or Muppets Cruise, or.
We could do that again. Why not?
I missed out.
I just want to say before we sign off, if you haven't seen Man of Steel yet, check it out. Actually, before we go, what was between that and Iron Man, what was the one that you liked better?
That's a tough decision. I think I was. God. I feel more partial to Superman just because I think I grew up with Superman more than Iron Man. Now, granted, both are great movies, and I'd watch them over and over again.
I guess I meant Iron Man 3.
Yeah, no, I understood. Yeah. Come on. But I think I'll go with Superman just because, both had great action. That's tough.
It is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think I would say that Iron Man 3.
I think it had a big more. Yeah.
It was Downey. Robert Downey's awesome.
Oh yeah.
He's funny but then on the other hand, Superman was, I think. It was really nice to see kind of a big mythology, a big epic.
Right. And then.
And there was no Ben Kingsley disappointment.
That's what I was gonna say. Iron Man 3. I'd like that more for that big FU moment.
It didn't. Yeah, no kidding. It didn't just punch us in the face.
Oh, my balls still hurt from that. I think overall, like Superman, and a lot of people complain, including you, that all the people that had to have died and all that stuff. But I think they did that. And I think
don't you think it's just because Zack Snyder's crazy though?
Well, that it's a big introduction to. We now have an alien living on our planet. This is going to happen.
I think even though I didn't think it was a perfect movie, I do think that there's a lot of potential there for a really good series.
Yes. Yeah.
I think as long as they can learn from some of their mistakes, which Zack Snyder is known to do. I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan.
Yeah.
Like I think some people are. But I think he's at least hardworking, which is nice.
Yeah.
But
I just hope there's going to be a sequel. No doubt about it.
Made more money than God. I mean, it's going to have a sequel.
I hope they don't go with the easy villain Lex Luthor. I want to see like a Brainiac.
Yes.
I want to see Brainiac.
I do.
I don't mind if Lex Luthor's in it.
Yeah, he can be in it.
Right.
Don't make him the main villain.
Yeah.
Or like if you want Lex Luthor to be more hands-on. I mean, Brainiac is awesome. You could do Metallo. He could turn a soldier into Metallo, which would just be like a Terminator.
Right.
I mean, Superman has so many villains, and the only ones we've ever seen on the big screen are Zod and Lex Luthor.
And then
and Richard Pryor.
And then the last Superman 4 movie.
Yes, Nuclear Man. That was made up.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We need to do an episode all about Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. I mean, these people, like these kids, like you don't know bad until you've seen that movie. Unless you've seen Catwoman. Then you might know that.
But yeah, I wish I could start a campaign where it's like Brainiac. So
yeah,
that's what I want to see. I want to see something different.
I was thinking when they before I knew what the Kodak was, I thought that was going to lead up to Brainiac in a sequel.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I thought it was going to be because there's so many different versions of stories of how Brainiac was created, but I know it could have been like his computer brain, and there's something else.
Right.
Whatever.
You lost me. No.
I lost myself. Well, I think we're about out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just happy to be back, and hopefully we'll start. Happy to be alive, and hopefully we'll be doing these once a week again for a while until stuff gets crazy again. So, are there any? Well, Thor's coming up. Captain America.
Wolverine. Watch that movie.
Yes.
Watch that be like the greatest movie of the summer.
I don't think so.
I
hope so.
I would be happy with that.
And I hope it's one of those movies where people aren't mixed about it, because it seems like Man of Steel, people were kind of mixed. You have people that hated it, and people that loved it.
So was Iron Man 3. That one was mixed too. And when we do Star Trek, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
One. Like go torrent it or something. Just shh. What, do you think the NSA is listening to us?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, then the thing with Wolverine is hopefully they worked really hard to redeem themselves.
Yeah, they've hit rock bottom. Mm-hmm. Like they hit bottom with X-Men 3 and then rock bottom with Wolverine.
Origins,
so,
yeah.
I think they've only got one direction to go. Well, they could still get worse. They could make a Wolverine 6, The Quest for Peace.
Where he saves whales. So.
All right, let's get out of here. See y'all later.